Now what we want to do is cut out pieces of paper 1/8 of an inch thick. There's different ways that you can do this that are time savers and will help you to cut your paper evenly. What we're going to do with these is put them between the squares. So they're going to only be 1/8 of an inch. Let's get closer so we can measure. Okay. 1/8 of an inch. Sorry, I have this glare. I hate that glare. But you can't move the light that's on the ceiling. Alright, so 1/8 of an inch is going to be that first mark right there. There we go. This first mark right here. And that's pretty tricky. So I'm going to score mine first. Make sure that you hold your paper tight. Hold it right here and hold it right here. Okay. Move that so you can see better. So now we know we're going to the very first line. Now, make sure you use this guide. That's what it's there for. There's a spot here, but that's just for the width of the ruler. But you have a guide on both sides, so make sure that you use them to your advantage. Press the paper so that it is perfectly lined up on this guide. Push it along until it is perfectly lined up on this line. Put the ruler down and hold your paper. Take your left hand out and then press. Make sure you're holding this paper like that. Okay? Taking the scoring tool. I'm leaving the cutting tool down here out of the way. Take the scoring tool and go over it several times. Now, I'm going to take the cutting tool and just go over it once. And there I have my 1/8 strip of paper. You're going to do that 5 times. So you want 5 of these. If you plan on making several cards, then you might want to just go ahead and pop these right out. It might be easier to score them all and then cut them with scissors, or score them and then cut them with your blade, or you can do that and just cut it with your blade. Depends on how comfortable you feel with the machine that you're using. I'm just going to go ahead and cut a bunch of these. You can use white cardstock, blue, gray, whatever you want. In this particular case, I'm using a light gray, off-white color. So there we have 5. And we're going to move that aside. And what we want to use is some tear tape. Here's my doodad. We're going to need that to put this card together in a minute. We want some tear-it tape, and we want some fine tip glue. Again, this is available from my Stampin' Up! Store. That's what it is, looks like. And it has a very special cap. You just take it off. Oops. And I'm going to take that piece off. See, it's got a nice teeny weeny tip. Perfect for this job. Always keep this pin and the cap in the pin when you're not using it. Don't use any other pin, just use this one that comes with the cap. If you use regular pins in your glue or needles, because you lose this one, they might rust. Anyway, I can't get that back in. Not right now. Alright, so that's what we're going to use for right now. So remember, we had measured these out. We're going to come back to this last, just to let you know. We're going to put everything together and then do this. First thing I need to do is get my squares out and pick a design. What do I want to do? You're going to want to use your Stampin' Up! Silicone craft sheet or a similar craft sheet that you have, because you're going to want to adhere these into place. So you're going to use 12 in all, so I think I'll try to do a pattern. Don't forget these. The hard thing about doing it this way is you don't want to have duplicates, too many duplicates together. And you want to decide how you want each of your patterns to face. So do you want them to face this way? Do you want it to face that way? I think I want mine to face that way. And I'll put this one in the middle here. I want a little bit of a dark, light, dark going on, I guess. And don't forget, let's see, I want that one. And that one. And you can do it that way, or, you know, you can make a design with it even. Just do a change up, change these so these are different this way, and then maybe that way. I'm trying to make it so no two touch, but that's going to be a little tricky. You could do like this and have different ones all over. I like the pink. I think I want a little bit more pink, so I think I'll take out one of these blue ones and put a pink one there. And I think I want these two to be on top and on bottom. So I like the dark blue. I like that a lot. So, and I like the pink one. So let's get that in there. And let's see, switch these a little bit. That's good. Alright, so that's going to be my pattern. Next, you're going to want to turn them all upside down, keeping them exactly the way they are facing, and put them close together, because we're going to stick them together with some tape. Oops. Now I'm going to use this tear and tape just because that's my favorite. So what I want to do is like this. Do I want to do it on top or on bottom? Which is easier? Let's see. Line it up this way. So we're going to try different ways. I'm going to do one square at a time this way, just so I can get control of it. I'm not sure if it's better to do them all at once or just to put two together at the same time. This is my very first time making this card, so I'm sharing it with you. So we will figure this out together. If you notice, I'm putting it on the wrong side on purpose. For those of you who don't understand what that means, I'm putting it on the side that is going to face down on the card, the side that no one else is going to see. That's what they mean when they say right side up and wrong side up. Okay, I'm just moving this a little bit around to line this up. The important part is, if you're like me and your little squares are sometimes not cut exactly perfect, yes, so no worries. Line it up at the edge first, and if there's space between, don't worry about it. We're going to cover that space up, okay? So, most important is to line it up on the edges. And any room you have to sacrifice, do that in the center of the card. Also, you can use this little silicone sheet to line up your card to help you keep the shape. Yeah, this is a lot of little busy work. And if you don't want to use these little squares, you know, you could just cut them in strips and make each strip its own section, or just do one solid, and put the 1/8 inch paper between it. Just depends on how much you like to fuss around with things and get down to details, or if you just want to make something quick and cute, but you don't want to go through all this hassle. Alright, so I think I screwed that part up. I'm going to have to fix it. See, that's not straight. Alright, I need to make sure this is straight, and I'm using this as a guide. So super helpful. Not sure that's enough tape either, so I'm going to go ahead and lift that up. Put another piece on it. There. I am not the most coordinated person, so if I can do this, it can't be too hard. Ah, crap. Okay, see, I just totally messed up the tape there. Whoops, where is it? Yeah, see? That's alright, no one's gonna see it, so I can fix it later. Or fix it now. By putting a straight piece of tape over it, that's fine. Okay. Last but not least, let's get this stinker in the middle, and I want to make sure that I have it facing that way. And I want the edge to be the same. Okay. So this is what it looks like. And as you can see, some of my pieces are not exactly the same. We will fix all that as we go. Now, fill in the gaps of each row with some of this tape. If you have double-sided tape that is Scotch tape or whatever, or you have a different brand that you prefer, it'll work. Glue will not work. You've got to use double-sided tape, okay? Unless you want to glue these onto a backing of something, then that's a totally different story. But we're not doing it that way today. So if you know how to do that, or if you feel better doing it that way, go ahead and just pause this tape, put your stuff together, glue it on a backing, and come back to this. Pick it up right here where you left off. Make sure this tape stays. And sometimes when I let this little plastic or paper piece on the back of the tape comes up with it. And so I use my little X-Acto knife here to try to get in between them and just gently separate them. Not quite done putting tape on yet, but I wanted to get this paper off before I cover up more paper with it like I did on this one, that's okay. Came off anyway, good. Okay, now, of course, everything is sticking to my fingers. Like I said, I'm not the most coordinated person in the world. And because this is kind of a little bit difficult, I'm not skipping over it. Because the cutting part is pretty easy. Everybody knows how to cut. Not all of us can cut in a straight line or exactly perfect, which is why I could never make real quilts. I've tried, and it did not work out for me because the squares were always came out uneven, and even when I tried to sew by hand, the sewing machine and I do not get along. It still came out puckered and not straight. I've had many people try to show me how to do it where it comes out straight, and I really am amazed. Anybody who can make a quilt and make it come out looking good and straight, that's amazing. Alright, so I have all my little pieces of tape here. And if you know a better, easy, faster way to do this, by all means, please leave a comment below and share it with everyone else. Now we're going to get a piece of, extra piece of tape here. We're going to get a piece of solid paper, and I'm going to choose one of these colors. I think I will choose a pink or a peach. Yeah, we're going to do Peekaboo Peach. It's a little bit different and deeper than the pumpkin spice. I mean, lighter than the pumpkin spice. But if I have any that are full size, yes, I do. I have. That looks, nope. That is not the right color. How about we choose a sugar plum? I have a sugar plum. Oh, that's pretty. Okay, we're going to use sugar plum background. So we're going to have to cut this piece of paper just 1/8 inch, shorter than this. So since this is 5.5 by 4 1/4, we're going to cut this 5 1/4 by 4. Five and a quarter. Find 5 1/4 here. Make sure you line it up against the guide, and then make sure it's straight against the line for a perfect cut. Hold your paper down and cut. Now we're going to turn it around to the other side, and we're going to find the 4. And using the guide, press your paper up against the guide to keep it straight. Put this side against the 4 and make sure it's straight all the way down the line. I have to adjust mine just a little bit. There we go. Hold it still and cut. So this is what's going to go behind our squares. We've already got them with double-sided tape. So now we're going to place it here. My one little trick I try to do is to place it wrong side up just so I can get an idea of where it's going to fit. So see, we're just going to have a little bit sticking out here. Place it where I want, and I'm going to get my pencil, if I can find it. Here it is, trusty pencil. And there's no shame in cheating. Some people can just eyeball it, throw it down, and boom, it's perfect. Most of us cannot, so don't feel bad if you're the most of us. If you're the kind that can, fast forward through this part. Right. So you can either eyeball it like this or get out a ruler or something. You can use the Stampin' Up! Cutter to figure this out. Remember how we used this to measure the 1/8 inch right here when we were cutting our strips? Remember that? Well, you can use this to either score or use your pencil to make guidelines for you to place your square. You can do this for any project. It's easier if you use the tools you have consistently. So since you use this to cut, we're going to use this to measure everything else too, right? Find your 1/8 line, which again is your first line after this. Line it up. Hold it. Now hold it like that, and you can just find a little spot, make a pencil line. Let me be clear about something else too. Sorry. This is a pretty big hole here, right? So you're probably wondering, where the heck do I make the line? Because that's a pretty big hole. Well, you can just use your scoring tool and just score like that to see where the line goes. Don't go all the way up, just shy of all the way up. So you can score a line, but it's not going to be seen after you place your item. Okay? And then do that this way. Not all the way to the tip, just over here somewhere. Okay? So we're going to do that again. I was going to use the pencil, but you know what? That hole is so wide, I'm not even sure exactly where the best place is to put that. So let's line up the guide, line it up with the line, and that should be good. About right there, just make a little niche. Alright, now using these two, this is the guide you're going to use to put this on. So I'm just going to show you right here. Sorry. Nope, not going to work. It's hard for me to balance. Okay, so we're going to go back here. Now look at the niche, looking at your niche. We're going to place this. And I'm totally wrong. Wow, wow, wow. Alright, it looks like it's 1/4 of an inch in. You're going to hear me say this a lot, but everybody makes mistakes. Yep. Alright, so since that's going to be even farther in on the card than we really want, no one's going to see it when we do it. So I thought that was the 1/8 inch. Seriously? Why is that not working? That is not. So 1/8 inch is half of that. Interesting. Wow. So if that's 1/4 of an inch, right? 1/8 of an inch is going to be this groove right here. Oh goodness. Okay. There we go. Alright, so 1/8 of an inch is going to be this little groove right there. The groove right after the groove. Wow. Okay, using my guide and making sure it's lined up. Let me try this again. Yep, that's more like 1/8 of an inch. Okay. Wow. Okay, we're going to try it this way. Now line it up here and line it up with this little indent. It's going to be just where this is. If you're not sure, it's right here. Right here. So where this is placed, it's going to be this, not where you're cutting, or I mean right here where your thing is moving up and down. That's where it moves up and down. It's the little niche right after that, still on the brown. Okay, line it up with that. I'm having trouble seeing that. I need some more light. Okay. Okay. And I goofed because I did mine all the way into the corner, but that's alright. I can smooth it out a little bit. Okay, so now that we have it done like that, now we can line this up. Making sure my squares are lined up the way I want them. Okay. And if these are not perfect, you can always cut them. Like I'm just noticing this one is not perfectly lined up here. So I'm going to have to cut one of these down a little bit. And there's tape sticking to everything, yeah. Oh, you can say it. Oh, mess. There. lot less uneven. This is a little bit uneven as well. Okay. That's better. Now we'll place this. Using that as a guide, we're going to place it here. And then it should be even all the way around. Okay. Alright, there we go. Alright, so that's what we have right now. I'm going to put a little bit of glue underneath some of these corners here to keep them from lifting. Okay, just a little bit. A little bit is a lot, so here I'll show you. Just a little bit. That's it. Okay, and this stuff stays. Just a tiny bit. Across this way. And that way. Hold it down. Had a couple people tell me, oh, this glue and that glue doesn't stick. Sometimes if it's really good glue, you may still have to hold it down for up to 15 seconds. I think I might have put too much on that, so I'm going to let it come out very slowly. Another little trick that sometimes helps, if you push out the glue and it comes out too much, just do a little dab with a baby wipe. Just a tiny little dab. So sometimes I get a little carried away with the glue. Even though I put so little glue on these corners, it still came out. So that's telling me I need to be very careful when I use these. So these, I said make them 1/8 inch thick. These are actually a 1/4 inch thick now. But I think I'm going to leave them that way. I was looking at how someone else made them, and theirs were a little bit smaller. But since I have a big gaps in some of mine, this is actually going to be to my advantage. That one's not exactly straight either, but so we're going to take these and put them like that over those, and that's helping us to make our patchwork. Now we only need them to be so long, not very long. So I'm just going to, yeah, let's measure these first. So this is going to be 5. Let's just cut these down to size. Okay, is that right? So we'll need 2 of them to be 5. Now let's see, do I want the white or do I like the gray better? And you can even use the same color you use for the matting. You could use this color. Any color you want. I'm trying to decide if I want it to be muted or if I want it bright. I think I like the white better. And so you can do this using different colors, and this could be for a baby card, birthday card, a card for a male, female, a generic unisex card. since you're deciding what colors to use and which embossing folder designs to use, the possibilities are super endless. Okay, so how big is this one? Yep, I need to cut that one down. This one's going to be 5. I'm cutting them down to 5 inches. This one I'm going to have to score and cut with scissors because it's already too thin. Okay. Oops. Yeah, see, I bent the paper a little bit. There. Okay. And then I'm going to use, let's see, these are, yeah, see, these are the ones that I cut at 1/8 inch. So you can see the difference in the thickness and how it's going to work. So I think I'm going to, I'll have to be consistent all the way through. I think 1/8 of an inch is going to be big enough to cover up my boo-boos. Yep, so, okay, I'm changing my mind once again, and I'm going to use the 1/8 inch. And since this is way too small for me to slice across in my Stampin' Up! Paper trimmer, I'm just going to do it by hand. And use this as my guide on how I'm going to cut all the other pieces. I need 6 of these. Sorry, I'm trimming this off to the side. There we go. That one was a little crooked down the center. Lining these up and cutting that one. Okay, I've got 4. I need one more. I know I have another one here somewhere. There we go. Get rid of that. And bring our glue mat down. What I want to do is just dab a little bit of glue on each one of these. And I'll probably have to do one at a time because if I don't, they will stick to my fingers. And if they're a little bit long, I will just snip it. Let's see. That looks good. Okay. So using this glue, we're going to do the tiniest bit of glue. Remember, with this glue, a little goes a long way. So just tiny dots. Let's see if I can get a little piece out. I don't think you can even see it. Come on. There. Sometimes you gotta prime it on the mat. Okay, very little bit. And I'm barely squeezing it. It's clear and it dries clear, so that's always good. I don't know if you can even see what I've done. It's such a little tiny line. Anyway, you get the idea, I hope. Now, I'm going to make sure I don't stick any to my sleeve. Make sure it lines up, covers up the holes. Oh, I might need more glue on that one. I've got a little bit too prime it there. Just afraid of putting too much on because it'll ooze out, you know. And another way you can do this is, whoops, you can't even see what I'm doing. Just glue it on, and here we go. Rub it on the back side to get it to stay. So apparently I didn't put hardly any glue on these. Put some more on. Okay. Starting there, make it flush, and go up there so it's straight. And then I'm just going to rub it on this side to get it to go in, to get it to stay. That way I'm rubbing it, but I'm not ripping the paper on this side. Alright, so far we've got those two. Now we're going to do 3 across. And, well, dingleberry, dingleberry. See, I should have measured these at 4, and I bet you were all yelling, cut it at 4. But I didn't hear you. Okay. Sticking up a little bit. Yep. Might be better to use some 1/4 inch tape. I don't have very thin tape, so I'm using this little tiny glue. But whatever works for you. Again, I'm afraid to put too much glue on, so sometimes I don't put enough. But you can always put more glue on. It's really a lot harder to take glue off than it is to add it in. Just remember that. I'm putting glue on. Okay. Let's see. We'll put some glue on this one. There. Leaving the bottom inch not glued, since I'm going to have to cut that off anyway. Since I kind of goofed that up there. Sorry, I keep going off camera. I get too comfortable with making these cards, too into making my cards that I get real comfortable and forget that I'm even on camera. So, I don't know if that's good or if that's bad. But it is what it is. Alright, so I'm going to measure this one and cut this one at 4 inches. Okay. And go ahead and glue it. This side was already glued, that side, okay. The glue is already dried, so gluing it ahead of time is not always the best way. And what I just did is wiped all the extra glue off so it doesn't ooze out when I put it on the card. Okay. And I'm just gently tapping it down to where I want it to go so it stays. Then I'm going to turn it over and rub it. Just press hard. We'll re-glue this piece all together. This one did not have enough glue on it. Poor little piece of paper. There you go. Let's try you again. We'll press all around just for the sake of getting coverage. Okay. So see, I have a couple little mistakes here. My OCD's kicking in. Sometimes I make it worse by messing with it, and sometimes I don't, but I usually take my chances. And I mess with it because I want it to be better. And I can see how there's so many mistakes in this card. So many! But that's alright. It's not bad for the first time. Then we're going to take this card and we're going to put it on our background. Ta-da! So I'm going to go ahead and erase. Where's my eraser? I don't know. We'll use this one. Erase some of these lines so they don't show through. Okay. And let's get our, I think I'm going to use the adhesive. So I'm going to use the snail adhesive for the back of the card because I really like how that works. So let's do that. Oh, sorry. Those are my 6-month-old puppies. And sometimes they bark. I can't believe they were quiet throughout this whole thing. Put a little extra glue on there. Sorry, we're almost done. And, sorry, I just threw it on there, I eyeballed it, but it was 1/8 of an inch. And so you can score or mark it just like we did earlier. So there you go. There is your patchwork quilt card. And I'll do another one a little bit quicker in another class, the next class, using solid paper instead of coloring with the ink and the daubers. But I don't know about you, but I think that came out pretty cute. Not half bad at all. There you go. So this is a Crafty Chick signing off and saying happy crafting. And I hope you enjoyed today's lesson. If you want the paper, oh, almost forgot the most important thing. The kit! Okay. If you do not have any of these items, you do not have the Whisper White paper, you do not have the embossing folders to make these papers that we made, and you do not have the inks that we used to make these paper, to make this card, then I do have a kit available, and all of these little pieces, well, you'll get a sheet and you'll need to cut them out in 1 1/4 squares as you see fit, or you can keep it like that and then just put the lines over it if you'd rather do it like that. See? So I'm going to give you, each one of these is going to be measured at 5.5 by 4 1/4, and you will get them. They will look like this. Each sheet. You can cut them, and also I will give you a sheet that size of the Whisper White cardstock. You'll get a piece like this, which is foldable, and when you fold it, it will be the size of this card. Okay, so it will be 8.5 by 5.5, and you can just fold it. I'll have it scored for you to fold. And also, you will get these pieces. You'll get a piece of white cardstock so that you can cut these into 1/8 strips. You know what? I'll give you them pre-cut into 1/8 strips, and I'll leave them a little bit longer so you can cut them and measure them in case you want to make a bigger card, like a 4x6 or something. Yeah, so you'll get some of these 1/8 strips, and you'll get these items in these colors and the cardstock in order to make a couple of cards. So I believe by using these, let's see, I cut some of them out all the way. You could probably get about 6 cards out of this kit. And you could change them up any way you want. So you're going to get all of these little squares. There's so many. So if you want to order any, I have the link to my PayPal below so that you can order the card kit, which includes the colored paper, the pre-cut 1/8 inch pieces to make, the quilt, the backing, which may be in this sweet sugar plum color, or it may be in a different color, but it's going to either be in the dapper denim, the lemon lime, the pumpkin, or the peekaboo peach, or it will be in the daffodil delight. So it will match these colors so that you can have different ones to make 6 different cards. And that is the end of our tutorial. So you can just click on the link to go to my blog, which will explain more and provide the ordering link. Thank you so much for joining me, and this is a Crafty Chick saying I hope you enjoyed our class, and now I really am done. Thanks so much. Have a great day.